Welcome everyone to a track as legendary as stock car racing itself. North Wilkesboro Speedway hosts race 7 of 25 of the Winstel Cup Series campaign here in 2025. 47 cars trying to go for 43 spots. 4 will go home here in North Wilkesboro. The first time Winstel has visited this small little half-mile oval in southern North Carolina. Welcome everyone to ABN's coverage of the Winstel Cup Series from Daytona to Atlanta all season long. I'm Carmen, Sienna, alongside me my production analyst and everything behind the scenes being run by Anity Pulsatrix. This is going to be a very interesting event. 135 laps sit ahead of the drivers here tonight. Not quite as long as the race at Bristol a few weeks ago, but just as tricky, just as challenging. This track has some unique perks to it. No safer barrier, so there's extra real estate on the racetrack if you need to use it. It's also on a hill. Down the front straightaway, like what we're seeing right here, this camera, pointing up at the top of the hill. It's a downhill slide from here into turns 1 and 2, so watch out for turn 1 and 2 being a trouble spot for drivers being turned, a little bump and run. A lot easier to make it happen there in 1 and 2, but it's also a lot easier for it to go wrong in that turns 1 and 2 area as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out. As I mentioned before, 47 cars trying to qualify. If you're top 35 in points, you're locked in. There's a lot of drivers, though, that are not in that position right now. Kind of looking at drivers that are sort of on that bubble. Tom Willett fell out of the top 35 last weekend. Corey Steinhauser also out of the top 35. Joshua Chin, part-time driver in the 93, also not present in this race either. Has slipped down to 38th. Anthony Krobach after a bad start of the season. The 11 car not locked in either. Steve Brown has struggled to make the field every single race. He's 40th in points alongside Craig Lautenslager. They both have DQ'd once already this season. Evan Melanson also failing to qualify once. Mike Rasmus failing to qualify twice. Corey Cook, Matt Taylor, Luke Stapila, Matt Skipper, Corey Collins, Andy Trupiano, all of them outside the top 35. Not all of them present here tonight, but just an idea of how long the list is of drivers that are outside looking in at any given point here in the Winstel Cup Series season. It's an expansive list. 68 drivers have attempted a race in the season so far, and we're only 7 races in. Some wild stuff there. Of the 68 that have attempted a race, 64 have made a start. Practice almost over, which means we're about to jump into qualifying, which is about to be electric here in qualifying. With Pro Winstel rules, it is no different for short ovals. You get a singular lap. So good luck getting the sirens up the temperature. You're not going to find it in a single lap here at North Wilkesboro. Just a little under 0.6 of a mile here in the classic North Wilkesboro Speedway. Means that it is going to be very, very tricky. Brandon Cruz, fastest in practice. He'll have to try to do it again here in qualifying. He's at 19.295. It was almost exactly to the nose, 0.2 clear of the entire rest of the field. We'll see what he can do. Here's Tom Willett in the 21. Remember, he's the first one outside the top 35, trying to make it into the fold. Winding up the lap here. This is going to be very tricky. 750 horsepower in these cars. None of them full throttle around a lap here. You are constantly off the throttle or feathering, trail braking. You will never find top speed here. Lap times will begin to cycle in rapidly. This is a small racetrack, so we're not going to have to wait very long for some of these lap times to kick in. Initial lap times in the books here. Andrew Ferrinair is currently the fastest at 19.7. drivers set times at Emily Howe, second fastest, 19.788, just ahead of Gabriel Mauricio. Tom Willett, we're watching him go first, 20.035, but not in danger by any means. Steve Brown behind him, Matt Sisler behind him. Coy Steinhauser, 20.2. Make things pretty easy for Tom Willett to make the field again here today. Parker Alexander. You're going to see a lot of unique looks on these cars. Based off the 2005 season, they never raced here at North Wilkesboro. The last time they raced at North Wilkesboro for a points race was 1996. Jeff Gordon won that race. Nick Doucette running a throwback to that event, running the Rainbow Warrior design, which is not that car. See if we can get that updated before the race starts. We'll have a little bit of time here between qualifying and the race. But Doucette running a trivia scheme for that. We'll get that all updated here soon. Okay, you can see the NASCAR Super Show. This is one of the generic paints, it looks like, on the 24 for the time being. We saw Parker Alexander's car, the 8 car. That is legitimate. The red transition to black on the rear end on that 8 car looked outstanding. Nicholas Doucette went 6th fastest, though, as we were talking about the paint scheme. Craig Lautenslager in the 99 needs to do well. You see the refresh going on right now. We'll see what Lautenslager can do. Kolonix goes 4th. Ashley Kolonix, 2nd start of the season for the 45 camp. Also needing to qualify in, and Kolonix is safe, as is Ryan Doucette up to 5th. Jordan Barabee in the 41, the Scooby-Doo, the Cartoon Network 41, 14th fastest. That will be good enough. 43 cars have already set lap times. The slowest of the bunch, our defending champion, Christian Budd. Evan Locke, another issue with the paint system there. 21st fastest for the Blue Deuce, the Penske number 2. We now have 44 cars that have qualified or set a lap time, and right now it is the 89 of Hayden Repas that is out of qualifying here, guaranteed to not make the field. Ken Huff needs to run still, as does Rory Collins and Christina Ryan. Putting on the paints update here. Most of the field has run at this point. We'll let you know if anyone else is on the racetrack and see how they run. There's 3 cars that have yet to run. Ryan, Huff, and Collins. They are not on track. They will start at the back of the field. Ken Huff. Interestingly here, Ken Huff not locked in to the race, and it looks like they have withdrawn their attempt to make the field. Ken Huff, 55th in points, definitely not safe, has only raced twice this season. And so not setting a lap time means that Ken Huff will not make the field here. Roy Collins also has yet to set a lap time. And what I can gather, also going to be out. So Huff and Collins are 2 of the 4 cars that are not making the show tonight. As we look through, you see the qualifying results at the top of your screen, the lap times that are there. So it's Huff, Collins, Hayden Repas, the 89, who's also not in the show. And then you have, I believe, if I'm looking at this correctly, I believe this might be Andrew Griesbaum. Yeah, Griesbaum is in. Griesbaum is 35th on the nose. I'm going to try to gather more information here. It might be Steinhauser. Checking and relaying, just kind of going back and forth on the points as we have them run at the moment. Cobbinger safe, he's 26th in points. It would be Steinhauser, 37th in points. He'd be the next one out. According to all of my calculations, at least. We'll wait for confirmation on this. See, there is the 55 of Steinhauser. Doing practice laps at the moment, 36th in qualifying here, but again, I don't think that's enough to make the field. in case, unless I'm missing somebody. I'm just kind of going through my timing screen now. So Ken Huff, Hayden Repas, and Matt Skipper definitively out, as is Roy Collins. So Matt Skipper was the other one. Skipper just behind Steinhauser, qualified 37th. So Steinhauser's safe by 1 spot. So that's why he's practicing, because he knows he's in. He knew he had to beat Skipper, and he did. For comparison's sake, Matt Skipper in points going into today. Matt Skipper was 47th, so he was definitely a ways down from the top 35. And will slide a little bit further down today. So that rounds out qualifying here. To kind of explain why qualifying is so long despite a short track of this length, it gives the admin team, the series officials, the ability to sort of go through their process of cycling out those that failed to qualify, go over last driver's notes in the driver's meeting, clarify some questions for the field before we get into this. Not unusual to see stuff like this happen in the giant scheme of things. And we have a lot of scheme issues here with the 84 and the 15. So we'll see if we can get that resolved here momentarily. Because it should be Andrew Fairness in the 14 and Emily Howe in the 15 at the front of the field. Gabriel Mauricio and Ashley Collins in row number 2. So bear with us for 1 second. Would be a broadcast if there wasn't something that wasn't incorrect. We have to try closing down our Training Paint software or by our Sidekick, whichever one's being used at the moment. So we can try to get all this taken care of here. So we will go over the starting grid while we're at it. So since I saw the results up here, so it is Andrew Fariniers and Emily Howe front of the field here tonight. Gabriel Mauricio, Ashley Collins in row 2. Ryan Doucette and Jacob Potak are in row number 3. There we go. Results top of your screen right now. Doucette and Potak row number 3. Jacob Potak, the first multiple-time winner this season, trying to see if he can get 3 wins to be the first to do it. Dylan Roberts, Nick Doucette in row number 4. Brendan McKee and Sean Pellig in row number 5. Makes up the top 10 right there. Just outside the top 10 is Tyler Head and Jeremy Davis. Tyler Head starting beside the car he used to drive when he was going for championships. Now starting ahead of him. Brandon McKissick and Jordan Barabee, teammates in row 7. Thomas Lewandowski and Mike Rasmus in row number 8. Jonathan Hernandez and Craig Lautenslager, row number 9. Chris Champeau and Parker Alexander, row 10, makes up those 2 positions there. Further down the running order here, Evan Locke, Matt Taylor, Brandon Cruz, Kirk Marble, Tom Willett, Alex Bates, Corey Cook, Steve Brown, Matt Sisler, and Kyle Benson make up rows 11 through 15. Get 43 cars in this field today. We'll point out the DNQs here in just a moment. Austin Reedy, Lucas Davila, Ryan Hill, Larry Pace, Chris Bishop. Corey Steinhauser made the field. It was Matt Skipper, the first one to miss out. You see the final of those that did set lap times here. Hayden Reeves, the 89, also not set the field here. Here we go. Racing already from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Going to be electric here. Side by side, Fariniers and Howe. Ahead of Gabriel Mauricio and Ashley Collins. And apologies for the issues with the Training Paint system. Getting that resolved here, but we are still racing and we are green. Getting through lap 2 just fine. 3 wide for second place. It's Howe on the outside, trying to defend from Mauricio and Collins. Potak on the verge of being passed by Nick Doucette. by Ryan Dissett. Both Dissetts right there together, the 13 and the 24. Just look for the back in the running order. Two throwback cars in this field, and they're side by side, the 24 and the 6. Dissett and Dylan Roberts, both running cars similar to what was run back in 1996, the last Cup Series points race in North Wilkesboro. It's a race that Jeff Gordon won, dominated that race. Not realizing then they'd be the last for quite some time. Go around the bend. Here turns 1 and 2. 4 now for the field as they go through. Very interesting. We were expecting some early calamities to kick off this race, and that's not what we've seen in the slightest. It's actually been very mindful on this opening stanza. I think it's because no one's been able to run full throttle by any measure of the imagination here. Makes things pretty straightforward in that regard. As the field rolls through turns 1 and 2, down the hill. Very easy to overdrive turns 1 and 2. Is doing a really good job not doing that, holding on to the race lead. Emily Howe resisting the pressure. From Kolonix, Potek up to 4th. And caution is out for the first time here, and we're going to see why. It is Craig Lautenslager, the 99. A lot of damage on the nose of that car. Looks like we're starting to get some paints in here. That's Lautenslager, the car involved. Lautenslager was near the top 15 in that roundup 99. Not in a great spot. He's going to come down pit lane, as will a couple others. His teammate, the 97. Philip Snipes also down pit lane, but not with damage. So here's a replay of what happened to Lautenslager here. Not a great time. Oh, a little bit of latency. If that is for the 00, that's Mike Rasmus. The 00 with a little bit of latency. No. Yeah, sorry, it is Mike Rasmus, the 00. Chilcutt's in the regular 0, the net 0 cart. Rasmus, the one that had a lot of latency. You're going to see exactly what Lautenslager saw. Now a lap down, and surprise, there's Lautenslager, and there's the inside wall. No safer barrier. So a little more impactful. Those hits the inside and outside concrete walls. Farinaires, Hal, Kolonix, and Potek, your top 4. Not everyone came down pit lane here. Christian Budd will be on the inside, one of those that went a lap down early. He's got other cars that went a lap down early in this field. That'll make things complicated. Philip Snipes, another one that went a lap down early. Going to see that traffic's going to be a major factor in this race the longer we go along. We still have about 120 laps to go, 122 to go at the line. Green flag back in the air, and away we go. On board with the 22 at Potek. Sitting right now in 4th. can see all the traffic around the racetrack. They're already coming around to complete lap 14. Mauricio just behind. And caution's out once again. It is the 75. It looks like that's gone wrong way around. The 75 of Sisler. There he is. We saw him qualify and make the show. And he's gone wrong way around. A little bit of damage on that right side of the 75. Take a look to see why. Side by side with Larry Pace. Ooh, Larry Pace got a little loose, snapped it up the hill, and just touched the 75 just a little bit. A little bit of contact there with what is listed as the number 12 car. I don't know if that's actually Chris Bishop or not. It might be. Riding on board with Larry Pace. The 09. Phoenix Racing. Send it in, and it's going to just snap just a little bit. You see the rear begin to go. A little bit of rearward braking. And it just kind of let go right in the middle of really going into the braking zone. And that makes things a little bit difficult. Second caution of the night. This is where cautions can become a little bit innumerable. Gives us some time to figure out the technical issues that have been affecting us early on here. Kind of walk through the behind the scenes stuff here as we enter 1 to green territory once more. So there's a couple different ways to do, or a couple different ways to grab the liveries for each of the drivers. There's trading paints, which is the default option. And then there is a thing called IR Sidekick, which is what people have begun using more and more. Usually it's a little bit more responsive. Today it just happens to not be. But we're trying to work through that and see if there's anything we can do at this point in time to get everyone ready to go for as much of this race as possible. Green flag is back in the air and everyone scrambles behind and in front, trying to get around the lap traffic. It is scrambling everywhere, trying to make up positions on these restarts. It's so invaluable to grab the track position while you have it. Dylan Roberts on board with him. Nears has a lap car between him and Emily Howe and Ashley Kolonix. It's the 97 of Philip Snipes. Everyone's scrambling for positions here at the front of the field. There's Mauricio center of your screen, the 5. That car's at least close to what it looks like on the racetrack at the moment. Mauricio in the 5, following Potak in the 22. They're going to be 3 wide out of turn 2 almost. Emily Howe is the very far outside lane to defend from Kolonix and Potak here. Barry Nares has a buffer. Philip Snipes will be trying to get his lap back. He has been stuck a lap down, the first car a lap down. 38 cars on the lead lap as things sit right now. Pace, after being involved in that last spin, is the last car on the lead lap. And caution's out for the 3rd time. Trouble. Chilcutt and Willett. Alex Chilcutt and Tom Willett in trouble. Tom Willett in the 21. Chilcutt, you saw there listed as 000, but just the regular generic 0, the Netgear car. I'm going to replay here momentarily as to what's going on. We'll see if we get a replay here momentarily as to what's going on here. Here's a replay here. Will it? Yeah, just gets tagged by Chilcutt. And Chilcutt gets a little bit instant karma there. Gets assisted into the second half of that incident. Matt Taylor in that top in number 32. See Steve Brown in the 43 just to the inside. See just a little bit of smoke and then a little bit more. Matt Taylor, for his credit, gets away with no damage on the nose of the 32 car. So pretty safe, all things considered. Front of the field, it's Andrew Ferrynares that is still at the front as things stand. So that does give Phillips Snipes his lap back. First car lap down is now 99 of Lotsling. Bring the flag back out and away we go. Trouble a little bit further back, almost, and there is a little bit of trouble there. That is the 49. Andrew Griesbaum set packing. A little bit of an overdrive there. Don't let the yellow bar fool you. We are under green. There we go. We are racing still. The 49 spin did not draw a caution under any circumstances. Will it or not will it? Griesbaum stayed in motion enough for that to not be the case. So stay at it here. Top three all together. No loud traffic in between them. This is Emily Howell and Ashley Konic's best chance. The battle for the race lead here with Ferrynares. Further back, this is Doucette trying to get around the 99 of Lonsleger. Completed 30 laps here of 135, 105 laps to go. It is not just us having a technical issue. Ryan Doucette had a technical issue of his own as well, trying to rejoin this race at least 17 laps down and counting. Which is not a great time if you are a 13 car needing a good result. Unfortunately, where we are at this particular point in time for Ryan Doucette, who had top 5 pace going into all of this. And tire wear beginning to be a factor here. You're seeing some smoke kick up in the distance. Everyone's struggling in massive ways. That struggle is not going to stop anytime soon either. It is going to be a very difficult race the longer they go along, just because of how different everything is in this field. Everyone has different strategies, different tires. People have come down pit lane. Some of those at the front of the field especially have not come down pit lane yet. They've not had to. They've not had the pressure to do so. That may just change as this all rolls along. Ferrynares on the inside lane, Howell on the outside lane, Konic's on the inside lane and third, a little bit further back. pull away just a little bit. It is not going to take long for traffic to become an issue. Andrew Griesbaum, who is still at the very tail end of the lead lap field in 38th. Only a few seconds up the road from Barry Nares and Emily Howe. Riding on board with Howe. Started second, sitting second. To a solution for the paint issue here. Giving it a couple minutes to see if we can get something figured out. So we're continuing to kind of just watch and hopefully get everything corrected here. Ferriers and Howe still battling. We're going to kind of walk through the field here momentarily. And I'm looking just a little bit further behind. You got Thomas Lewandowski in the 1, chasing down Sean Peleg in the 48 that is just outside the top 10 and 13th here. Christian Poe trying to get into the top 15 as well, but also trying to defend from Matt Taylor as things sit right now. Taylor in the 17th spot, Ryan Hill in 18th, and that Jim Beam number 7. Then you have Evan Locke in the 18th spot. Kyle Vincent in 9th and 20th, excuse me. Austin Reedy in 21st. It's been a slow-moving charge through the field here for some cars. Everyone trying to make some headway here. Pace, especially the 09, trying to make some headway too. I believe we do, or might be getting ready to have some pictures here. Oh, it's McKissick in the 42. He stepped out sideways, trying to chase down the 4 of Jeremy Davis. Still leading the way from Howe. Howe trying to apply the pressure. Tires wearing massively here at North Wilkesboro. Thought for a second the caution was out with how much they were off farther in 1 and 2. That's just how much the tires are wearing at this point in time. Kind of like what Ashley Collins is doing, that 45. Staying close, consistently applying pressure to both the top 2, but also not trying to get in that fight right now. Okay, we're just kind of sitting in open space and letting these two burn these Goodyear tires clean off. That's exactly what's going on right now. Give it another shot. See if we've got everything fixed on the whole paint graphics design here. Give it a second to see if this works. Moment of truth on if we've got this settled so we can see the half, at least the majority of the race with everyone in their proper colors. Second here. I would probably have to close IR sidekick in this situation. So some sort of issue going on. So some sort of issue going on at the moment. Still not allowing us to see the paint's unlocking heater. That was Griesbaum coming down pit lane to 49. So got right to the front of the leaders and it came down pit lane to avoid holding them up any more than normal. Griesbaum is actually retired from this race. So calling it quits here after about 50 laps for Griesbaum. Deciding enough was enough in that situation. So we now have our first official retirement with Griesbaum out. Ryan Doucette trying to get back in, may eventually get back in. But right now sitting about 40 laps down. Not really much of a kind period for Ryan Doucette. A power failure is what was reportedly affecting Ryan Doucette. Setting everything backwards there. Mariners are watching in this battle at the front of the field. They're coming up now on the 55 for a Steinhauser. Year 1 Monte Carlo. Playing a very timid and careful game, while also trying to stay on the lead lap. Easier said than done. Looking at Nick Doucette, having lost the position to Dylan Roberts here. Battery number 9, unfortunately, so I believe we have encountered an impasse on the paints issue. Exhausting every resource we've had at our disposal. We've tried trading paints, we've tried IR Sidekick, and something is just not connecting at this point, unfortunately. Some cars look okay, like Jeremy Davis's car looks good, but that car doesn't change from race to race. Some others do. So it's a very careful game of having to play. You see a couple of the paints that do look good. The 42 of McKissick is normal. So when you start looking at the 41 and the 32 that are not in tip-top shape there. Mariners has led quintessentially flag to bell so far. We are 62 laps into this race, and he has led every single one. It's going to take a lot to take that off. As it continues to unfold here. Lap traffic in the way. Caution's out. Caution's out. Oh, huge crash, and the leaders have to navigate it. So caution out for the 4th time tonight. Cruz involved. There's the 20 of Cruz. Everyone trying to navigate. Steve Brown also involved, the 43. Grab a replay of this momentarily to see what happened to the 20 of Cruz, the 43 of Brown, and a couple others. This is down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. You're going to see, I think, a little bit of a little bit of a close down on the corner by Matt Sisler. Spins all 3 of them around. Willett gets a piece of it. You see the rest of the field trying to basically just weave their way through. Saw he got into the 75 of Sisler, who came down the track on him and got spun off for his troubles by Steve Brown. So 3 cars involved, 3 cars still running from that incident here. And interestingly, what this does, it allows those that had not yet come down pit lane to do so. Snipes here coming down pit lane, it looks like. No, still on the racetrack here. Oh, no, I'm looking at a replay. So Snipes did lead a lap and then came down pit lane, so he did grab those 5 bonus points, which was what he was concerned about. And now it is back to the front of the field for Andrew Farinaires, who will not have the perfect race. Unfortunate for Philip Snipes, for Andrew Farinaires, who has done a fantastic job so far in this race. Of course, they just will not lead every lap. But now what this means is that everyone's got fresh tires to challenge on this upcoming restart. So it's Farinaires, Hal, Potak, and Roberts as we get ready to go racing once again. Everyone going wild here. It's not a great pit stop for Ashley Kolonix. It's 4th going in. Now sits 32nd. Very bad pit stop there. Kolonix, it does allow Jacob Potak to have a better look at the front of the field here. See if he can do anything in that 22 machine. Dylan Roberts in 4th, Gabriel Mauricio in the top 5. Lap 71 now underway of 1:35. Back straight away in the turns 3 and 4, up the hill. And now trying to figure out any way she can find a way around the 14 of Farinaires. I think ultimately this is going to take a little bit of bravery if you're going to try to find a way around 14 car. Retirement. It is the 99 of Lautenschläger, who will be classified 41st. So Lautenschläger, Griesbaum, and Ryan Doucette all out of this race. Somewhat the last car running, 3 laps down as things currently sit. Outside lane now being held by Roberts and Hal. Hal got to the quarter panel of Farinaires. Is it enough to hold on to it? No. Not in 3 and 4 this time, but only Hal got a really good run under 1 and 2. Looked really good. Just couldn't sustain it. It's the inside. A little bit of side-by-side action now. Howe got him. Got the real estate needed to try to go after the front of the field. Now Ferry-Nez has to use the outside to defend. Not clear in 3 and 4. And they are trying to work him up the hill. And Ferry-Nez defends again and clears again. Outstanding from the 14. Absolutely insane from the 14 of Ferry-Nez to defend on both the outside and the inside lane. Did an incredible job there. Right on board with the 14 of Ferry-Nez. Staying away from Emily Howe. Traffic coming up quickly. That is Brandon Cruz, about to find himself in the crosshairs of the leaders. To look at Brandon Cobbage in the 66 to put him a lap down. In comes Steve Brown to pit lane. Very close call there. Cobbage will likely go a lap down here. There he goes. This is a track that is incredibly difficult to pass. We're seeing that on display here. Out of the way. Quickly winding through here. We've completed 85 laps here. Here's Cobbinger, who is a lap down now. 34th, first car a lap down. There's McKissick, the 42. Trying to make his way through, and then there's Ryan Hale, he's in 7. Now Hera is number 7. Scavenger just kind of lets the field on through here. His objective is just stay first car a lap down. That's the 41. His way on through. That's Jordan Barabee. Middle portion of the field here. There is Jeremy Davis in the Ford, 32 of Matt Taylor. Make the way around lap traffic here. right now leading the way. Emily Howell, Jacob Potak, Dylan Roberts, top 4. So again, we're going through more troubleshooting issues for some of the technical problems that we've been going through tonight. Closing down on 40 laps to go is where we're at right now. We've had 4 cautions, which is pretty impeccable given the trends that we've seen so far to kick off the season. It has not been anywhere close to what we thought it would be. 4 cautions. We have 32 cars on the lead lap. Matt Sisler about to go a lap down. Christina Ryan, first time in a long time, a lap down under regulation. In 33rd, the first car a lap down. See that? 88 car just delivered for the back. Alex Chilcup, Brandon Cruz, Chris Bishop, Corey Steinhauser, all 1 lap down. Steve Brown 2 laps down after coming down pit lane under green. And Tom Willett 3 laps down, last car running. 40 cars running so far. Fantastic job for all of them at this point. Front of the field, Andrew Ferrinaire still running. Now looking at Matt Taylor and 38 Kyle Benson also competing against each other at the moment. A little bit further down the running order. And still trying to figure out some of these issues that have been affecting us, so it doesn't affect us going through the Easter break here. Reminded that we do have an Easter break for the Winstel Cup Series while we're at it here, with Kyle Benson falling further and further behind Matt Taylor. We do not have a Winstel Cup Series race on Easter Sunday. Next week, completely off on that Sunday. We do have a race coming up on Wednesday, the AVN Champ Car World Series from Sonoma. And the VRR GT World Tour on Saturday, the day before Easter, from Montreal. It's going to be a very light week for us here on AVN. It's great for the first racing holiday of the year. On board right now with Ferrinaires. Emily Howell in second still as they navigate lap traffic. That's the 12 of Chris Bishop. Handling the Altel, number 12, those ones piloted by Mo Perry. Running so far. Laps to go. These laps winding through extremely quick. Running about 3 laps a minute is about what we're running here. All right, so you see right now where we're running at the moment as things sit. Here's a good look at what the cars are supposed to look like here with Ferrinaires and Howell. Right now we're trying to do everything that we can in our power to bring the rest of the race, the finish of this race, with everyone in their proper colors. Emily Howell in the second position at the moment as things stand. There is the 22 of Jacob Potak, running the second Inner 2003 broadcast right now, having to just do the manual keyboard swap. For those wondering, the Shift V and Shift C for those that didn't have Inner 2003, but I believe we might have found a solution. Our production does have to take a little bit of a reset here. So you're seeing basically what I'm seeing right now on the broadcast as a commentator, which is a very blank window with just the cars on the racetrack, the overlays being held up over top of it. Verinair is doing a good job so far, managing lap traffic ahead of Emily Howe. Jacob Potak still in third. Here we go, back to, here is the production feed. Everything a little bit clearer, a little bit crispier. Outstanding, and everyone with their right colors. So, we got that taken care of. So, now we know that going into the next race, which is, by the way, the Coke 600, we're good. Jeremy Davis right now pivoting right to him, side by side with Jordan Barabee. Jordan Barabee tags the concrete wall just a smidge into turn 3. A little bit latency for a good measure as well. Jeremy Davis slides up the inside lane. Just ahead of him, side by side as well, Ryan Hill and Brandon McKissick. And McKissick's in the wall. McKissick in the wall hard. Still trying to drive the wheels off the Texaco Havoline Dodge. Really a chance to ride on board here with Ryan Hill as he battles with McKissick down the hill into turn 1. McKissick really overdriving that Dodge at the moment as things stand, and Ryan Hill is going to clear. Pretty easy stuff there. Starting where he's at right now in 12th. That's where he began this race with 25 laps to go at the line. There we go. Not a bad effort so far. Verinair's Howe still lead the way. There's the 24 that we were talking about earlier in this race. Rainbow Warrior paint, one of 2 throwback cars in the field, the other being the 6 of Dylan Roberts. Set running the car that Jeff Gordon won when he won the last race here at North Wilkesboro in 1996. Roberts in the 6 running a throwback similar car. It's Viagra on the side, but this was what was once the Valvoline number 6. Once upon a time. Throwbacks for both of them here. Now we get to see the full pretty field for the closing segments of this race. 4 cautions. It's been a fantastic run. There is Tyler Head in the GMAC 44. Chasing down the 24 of Doucette. Battling for 6th. As things run at the moment. Very interesting to see if we can beat the brains of the top 3 here at this race. It has been very static. At the front of the field, there's been not a lot of headway, even with traffic. Andrew Verinair is looking to break through and grab his first Winstel Cup win. He's going to hold on for 20 more laps to do so. Around Commentator again. Commentator coming down pit lane. Believe we might have green flag pit stops here happening shortly. With how many people have been coming down pit lane, very possible here. Now behind Chris Champeau. Champeau, the last car on the lead lap, and will go a lap down at a turn 2 here. It's been really a matter of who can touch the 14. Philip Snipes led 1 lap under caution to break up the perfect race. And that's been it. But otherwise, a very straightforward turn of events for Andrew Verinair. She's about to make history. Riding right now with Kyle Benson. Just outside the top 10. Right now, Benson in the 14th position as they run. Christian Budd started this race in the last row. made up half that gap in what has been a race to forget for the defending champion. It was a lap down early too. Went down a lap super early in this race, had to make all that back up. And did so. Did so with Styling Flair up to the 19th position. If he grabbed a couple more positions, he would be sitting pretty with how the day has been for him. Further up the field here, Dylan Roberts in 4th, trying to defend from Gabriel Mauricio. As the laps wind down. Less than 15 laps to go, 14 to go as we stand. These tires getting very slippery for the field. Very hot racetrack, very old tires at this point for those at the front of the field. Emily Howe has drifted back, so has Jacob Potak. They've got bigger fish to fry. That is just getting to the end of the race without making another pit stop here. This green flag pit stop for the leaders would be detrimental. Very similar how caution could change things at Bristol. Same thing can happen here. Davila started 32nd. He's another big gainer in this field, up 15 spots where he started this race. The Argentinian trying to hold off a slew of veterans: Larry Pace, Sean Peleg, Christian Budd, and Ashley Collins, all in that group. Ashley Collins was down in 32nd. 3 wide, just ahead of Collins here. Collins is going to put her name into the middle. 3 wide, almost a caution. With Christian Budd getting to the quarter panel. First, Sean Peleg, and then Larry Pace. Christian Budd hitting a ping pong ball there. Collins from 32nd all the way up to the 21st spot after a bad pit stop for the 45 camp. Has not been able to get back up to where she started this race, which was in 4th. Peleg in the concrete wall there down the back straightaway. Struggling on these tires as well. 10 laps to go and counting. And trouble. Whoa, something just happened. Andrew Ferrinaires has been disqualified. We'll have to gather the story on this in just a second. Ferrinaires leading this race, dominated this race, with 10 laps to go, out of it. The report attached to this disqualification is requested by the driver. We'll have to gather the full report on this after the race. But Andrew Ferrinaires led the most laps, was on pace for leading all but one, and is now out. Here in North Wilkesboro, Emily Howe, a one-time race winner in modern Winstel history, looking for a second win. And now the pressure is on for Emily Howe to hold on ahead of the 22 of Jacob Potak. What are we witnessing here? There's Potak in the 22, the second place car. The blue Caterpillar machine. Started this race in row 3, gained 4 spots. And now it is game on for the potential race win. Potak has a 3rd win in his grasp this season if he can get around the 15. Emily Howe looking for her first win in Winstel that has not been on a plate track. So this is going to be wild. 5 laps to go to make it happen. That's 2.5 miles, and caution's out! Caution's out! Trouble, that is the 12 of Bishop and the 55 of Steinhauser. We have a point of no return coming up. This got very interesting. Andrew Ferrinaires, again, I would love to see what the report is on this. It was a report it was requested by the driver disqualification. So something has happened with Ferrinaires to even result in that being a thing. And as I mentioned before, we'll gather after the race. Obviously, the series will be very busy today. Pit stops, everyone getting fresh tires. not everyone's coming down pit lane. So, who makes the gamble? That'll be very interesting. Jacob Potak, 2-tire stop. Parker Alexander, the 8 car. Budweiser, number 8, currently at the front of the field. There's a lot to go over here. Here's a replay of the crash between Chris Bishop and Corey Steinhauser. This is out of turns 3 and 4. A little wide for Steinhauser. And Steinhauser bumps into the 07. For his troubles, comes off Tyler Murray in front of Chris Bishop. Thankfully, not a lot of damage for either of those cars. But they are now irreversibly off the lead lap. Here's Jeremy Davis. Second place now with cars not coming down pit lane. He's going to get a good look here at the spin. The aftermath of it. So let's sit through this one. We got a lot of wave rounds to do here. So it's Parker Alexander, Jeremy Davis. Those two did not come down pit lane. Just those two did not come down pit lane for a 2-lap shootout at the end of this race. Lap cars need waved here, and they're going to get wave rounds here, so we're going to have a longer caution period before this last attempt at a restart. 5th caution of the day. Parker Alexander trying to be bold, trying to be brash, trying to grab a race win in that Budweiser number 8. This has been an absolutely wild ride, start to finish so far, and it just got wild. There will not be a double file restart here. Chilcutt getting the message now. Moving to the end of the field. Single file on this restart. Jordan Barabee riding on board with him. The target to 41. As we get ready to go back racing for a 2-lap shootout. Old tires, first and second. Fresh tires, 2 tires. Sitting in third. Green flag, here we go, 2 to go. And no one's got the grip for this. Jacob Potak's got this one in the bag if he can hold on. Alexander's going to fight him super hard, but 2 tires just have so much more grip here. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go in North Wilkesboro. 2 tires was 100% the call. Henley Howe not going to have enough to even get through the field to try to challenge for second place. Jacob Potak, here we go, will win in North Wilkesboro. Howe will take second at the line. But it's all about Jacob Potak, who wins his 3rd race of the season. And they all crash behind. Jacob Potak with the 2-tire gamble worked out brilliantly. Was able to make the real estate work. Emily Howe second, Parker Alexander in 3rd. Is how the podium lines out there. Absolutely wild stuff there. So Jacob Potak will get to celebrate for the 3rd time this season. This time as winner here in North Wilkesboro, and what was a wild turn of events there. No tires, 2 tires, 4 tires, all on the podium as a result. Parker Alexander took a gamble he thought he had to take, and that's a fair shot. But it was not enough to hold off Jacob Potak for the race win. His 2 tires coming in handy just when they needed to, and he'll burn them down on the front straightaway here in North Carolina. Absolutely wild turn of events there for the final couple laps in this event. Here's the top 10 as we sit. We'll look at the full results here in just a moment. But it's Potak, Howe, and Alexander top 3. Dylan Roberts in 4th ahead of Jeremy Davis, Jordan Barabee, Gabriel Mauricio, Larry Pace. Look at Christian Budd. going from the back of the field, the very last row, up to 9th place. Our biggest mover is the 17 car in 9th, Corey Cook. Much needed result for the 31 crew. That Chevrolet ends up in the top 10 for the first time this season for the 31 team. Absolutely fantastic run for Corey Cook in this field. Without further ado, we're going to pick the brains of everyone involved in the top 3 here. We're going to start with the 8 car of Parker Alexander, the Budweiser Chevrolet, on the podium. Gutsy call, obviously a call that I think paid off no matter what. But walk us through that. I'm sure you were thinking more than just 2 cars would make that call at the end.
Yeah, I was thinking. I think I actually have 4 or 5 with me. But yeah, I was thinking a lot more would make that call. I was surprised everybody pit. Normally when there's a green, white, checkered, everybody stays out. So I was like, all right, everybody stay out this time. And I was very surprised to see I was the first one on old tires.
Yeah, there's a couple that stayed out, but they were a lap down, so they didn't stay up there at the front with you. That being said, obviously, with how hard passing was here today at this track, the traffic issue game so important, it was a gamble worth taking. Exactly how difficult was it for that 8 car trying to move through the traffic? And obviously, it made that call easy.
This 8 car, I don't know who's talking about hard to pass. This 8 car was moving through traffic today. I was having a great time. I got there about lap 35. I got some fresh tires on her, and we were cutting through pretty good. And once we got a long run and everybody kind of migrated towards that high side, I felt like I was the only one that could really make the bottom work. So I think I went from about 20 some to 8th on that second run there, that second long run. So it was a good run, and I'm glad to finally have a good run under my belt this year. It's been a rough year, and I'm gonna be glad to finally be away from that top 35 cutoff area. Hopefully I'll be able to have a little bit more of a buffer now.
Obviously that's the next part of this where it gets so important here. Obviously having a good result going into the Easter break, no race next week. The next race is the Cook 600. One of the biggest races of the season, one of the longest races of the season. What's the momentum like for you now?
It's feeling pretty good going into Charlotte, but I tell you, I'm in a DEI car in 05. We ain't making it through Charlotte. It's just not happening.
Well, hopefully you get to turn that luck around a little bit. The car looked fantastic today. The 3 doors down.
I want to thank Jordan Worth for that. Jordan Worth made this. He's a great painter, and I like seeing when he drops stuff. Today's race, man, it was the first race all year I could say it was a pretty darn good race. We got some great long green flag runs in there, and it felt good to be back in a good long run.
Well, hopefully it's the first of several more as we get ready for the summertime. As we mentioned, in 2 weeks, it is Charlotte, the Cook 600. Typically, we've seen these cars be a handful there. We're expecting more of the same this year. Before we let you go and let you celebrate the podium and enjoy a good result to finally get through the opening stanza of the season, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, Parker, the floor is yours. What an outstanding call there.
I want to say shout out to my crew chief, Tony Urici. It's 05, never mind. I want to say shout out to Emily Howe for making these great machines every week. I want to say shout out to Bud, Brennan, all the guys who run this show. It's a great show to be a part of, especially when you're running well.
Well, it can't get a whole lot better than the 3rd place here from 20th on the grid. Row 10 to a podium for Parker Alexander. An outstanding job. We'll see him again in 2 weeks in Charlotte with, I'm assuming it's going to be a patriotic scheme. I believe this was the year we had a whole bunch of patriotic schemes.
Nope.
And that 8 car is going to be one of them. No?
Nope.
Well, we get to see
I'm regular Budweiser next week.
We get to see the regular Budweiser number 8 then. But either way, fantastic looking car tonight for the wild card event. We'll see you in Charlotte in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks for broadcasting.
Thank you so much, Parker.
No problem.
That was Parker Alexander, the 3rd place car tonight. We'll move on to P2. So close to a potential race win. The 4-tire call ultimately falling just a little bit short on that final restart. Emily, walk us through it. 4 tires versus 2 tires versus no tires. We saw it begin to kick in on the very last lap, but not enough time. Walk us through it.
Yeah, I thought that there would be more cars that stayed out there at the end. And with, I wanted to just have the ability to get going on the restart, or I figured, in the situation of how far ahead we were, that, if I lined up third in the restart behind the people who took tires, then I'd have been golden goose, but I ended up restarting like 9th. Overall, I can't really complain. I got gifted the lead there when Andrew got destroyed on the right front with the lappers, and then, me, Potek, and Andrew had such a fantastic battle all night that I can't be mad with second. So that was intense. That was crazy. That's the hardest I've driven for 135 laps in my life. That was like dirt racing for ever and ever and ever.
We saw in this race, we saw how difficult it was to pass once you got to that front field. Obviously, you started in second. You spent basically your entire race in second place. It seemed like it was just super hard to pass. It wasn't because it was grippy. We saw the car sliding around a lot. What was just so different about being in that second spot and just not being able to make anything work? Because you talk about being tired and being exhausted after racing for 135 laps. You were running every single lane. You were rip riding anywhere you could get clean air. What was up with that 15 car? Was it just something that the 14 had, and that once you get to the front and get the ultimate position, you just can't lose it? Like, what was going on with that?
I needed to get to if I could have been on the outside of 1, I could have gotten him. But the bottom of 3 and 4 was just so good that, I didn't really ever have him. Like, I didn't really have the pace for him. And I also just didn't want to burn my shit up too early because, Potek and Dylan and those guys back there were really, really, up and ready on the wheel to conquer any mistake. But yeah, early in the race, I kind of found that the top side of 1 and 2, I could really rip the fence and just keep my tires under me and just, keep pounding on that momentum. And a lot of fun, just a ton of fun. I hadn't really ever driven this track coming into the night, and now definitely one of my favorites on the schedule.
Well, it's a wild card for a reason. It could be a wild card again next season as well. But before we talk about that, obviously a lot of things kick off. Obviously, we have the Easter break coming up here next week, and then the next race is one of the longest, the Coke 600, in 2 weeks' time. A race like this, a result like this, obviously very needed. It helps keep you right in that top 3 conversation in the points, especially with the bad days being had by McKissick and obviously Jacob Potek being right there with you at the front of the field at the end when it mattered. Going into Charlotte, a home race for you. This is in your home state. Is this sort of the momentum that you wanted to carry going into that big event?
Yeah, it'd be really great to be able to conquer the Carolinas. I thought I was going to get handed the win there, but then, that little 3 to go yellow really kind of put a damper on that. Glad to be back at the second, but yeah. Charlotte's not really my best track. I tend to not do super great there, but, with Bud and those guys having bad days, I don't think Jose showed up tonight either. Should be good on points. Possibly leading the points here when everything settles out, which is, great for being pretty much quarter of the way into the season. So strong runs for the 15 car tonight. And all season long.
Absolutely a fantastic job for the 15 car this weekend. You get to enjoy the weekend off and come back to Charlotte in 2 weeks' time. Before we let you go and let you celebrate the podium and enjoy the off week for the first time this season, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Fantastic drive there for the 15 car. Never out of place at the front of the field.
Yeah, I just want to put a big thank you out to all the fans who watch, all the fans who made their voices heard. I don't know if it was talked about, but the feedback of wanting longer races was heard. We'll be having I believe 10 laps longer for the rest of the mountain halves, and then 5 laps longer at the 2 milers through the rest of the season. I believe the Coke 600 will stay at its original length as it was. I don't know how many laps. A lot of laps, enough to keep you satisfied. So thanks everyone for tuning in and watches, and hope you all enjoyed tonight. And then also thank you to Carmen's computer for working and not making me look like a fool tonight.
That's a story for a different time. We'll talk about that with Emily helping me get my computer upgraded. A very interesting trip this weekend. But Emily, congratulations on the P2 tonight. We'll see you again in Charlotte in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully with another podium interview at least on the way in North Carolina again. Enjoy it, Emily. All right, and that moves us to our race winner. And this time, it's not a dominating win for Jacob Potek, who did an absolutely outstanding job here today. 22 car capitalized when it mattered the most. A top 5 car throughout the race, qualified this race in 6th. took a two-tire call. A little bit of spatial awareness, understood who was out and who had come down pit lane. And that traffic management was key. Jacob, third race win of the season. An absolutely fantastic result. 7 races in. You have almost half of them under your belt. Walk us through this one. This one was a little bit different.
Yeah, you can say that for sure. I first want to say I feel awful for Andrew because right before his incident, like 5 laps before that, I just started thinking, like, I don't think I've seen him even slide a tire this whole race. Like, he drove perfect. He deserved that win. Felt bad about that. But then he got knocked out and all of a sudden kind of kicked me back into gear right there with Emily. And I don't think, if that final yellow hadn't happened, I don't think I would have been able to make a move. Just maybe if we had clean track, could have been something. But there were so many lap cars around us. I think trying to make a move there, it would have, I don't think he would have been able to do it without it ending ugly, and Emily doesn't deserve to get raced ugly. So I think probably was going to settle for second there, and then that caution came out, and I didn't know 2 tires would be the right call, but it felt like I had to do something, and it worked out. But it was certainly not how Coach drew it up, I'd say.
Now walk us through this, because we didn't catch the full report on what happened to the 14. What happened to Farriers that kind of blew this race wide open at the perfect time?
Yeah, I checked out the replay while I was waiting to chat with y'all. Just had a lap car get loose in front of him and just was in the lane about 50 miles an hour off pace, saving it, and he just had nowhere to go. And he made a good call since he couldn't steer to have him get DQ'd, so his car would get removed without anybody else getting damaged. It was very noble of him in a really crappy moment for him. So yeah, that was not what I expected to happen. Certainly woke me up for sure.
Obviously, unfortunate for him, he had done a really good job up in that race as well. For you, obviously, this 22 car had looked fantastic. It had been at the front of the field all race long, and you make it happen here. 3 race wins in 7 races is a really good ratio to have here going into the first holiday break for Easter. We've talked about it before where you're like, hey, I might go for the chase, try to go for the championship here. You are now by and far the odds-on favorite. Obviously, a couple cars not here that could have been a factor. Jose Solis Jr. not being present in this race today being one of those. But going into Charlotte, the chance of going 4 out of 8, trying to go 50% here, is a pretty big deal. Is Charlotte in 2 weeks a race that could take place, and how are you feeling going into the longest race of the season?
Love Charlotte. Love Gen 4 of Charlotte. So I think my best sim racing win ever happened in 2023 in a Gen 4 full-length Coke 600 race with some really talented drivers in the field. So it's certainly, if anything's in my wheelhouse, that is. So definitely never want to feel like if I go into a race focusing on I really want the win, that's usually when I end up in the wall. So obviously just going to go in, do the best I can, take what it gives me, but the momentum's there, so going to try and keep it going.
That is the biggest thing that you could possibly keep an eye on there, and that is momentum. Keeping the confidence up, keep the momentum high, and roll through the season. We have an off week, so everyone has a chance to rewind or unwind and reset here going into the Coke 600 in 2 weeks' time. Before we let you celebrate your race win and enjoy the very deserved off week here for the first time all season, Jacob, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on your 3rd race win. First time here at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, thanks guys. Definitely want to shout out you guys. Another great broadcast. Always love watching them back. I want to shout out Emily. A really great setup. Had a lot of fun racing it. Also thanks to Brendan and Christian setting everything up. And thanks to everybody watching. And yeah, that's what I got. Thanks guys. Hope to talk to you again soon.
I have a feeling we're going to be able to talk to you again very soon. Jacob, enjoy the race win, and we'll see you again in Charlotte in 2 weeks.
Thanks guys.
That was Jacob Potak, the P2 here, sorry, the P1 here for the 3rd time in North Wilkesboro as we go through race 7 of the season. The official results here, we'll go through the full grid order as things finished up here. Andrew Farriers, a disqualification as we reported it, not because he'd done anything wrong, but because he was stuck on the racetrack. Could not go anywhere after making contact with a lap car. Somehow we do not have an incident report or a camera on that incident to look back at. But an ending of what was going to be a near perfect race for the 14 camp unfortunately leaves them asking a lot more questions and answers going into Charlotte in 2 weeks' time. It's Jacob Potak, Emily Howell, Parker Alexander. We talked to all three of our podium finishers here in North Wilkesboro. Dylan Roberts, one of the throwback cars, in fourth. Close, but not close enough to the podium. Jeremy Davis, another good result here, top 5 for him. Jordan Barabee, Gabriel Mauricio, the Brazilian, in 7th. Larry Pace in 8th. Christian Budd from 42nd starting position. He didn't settle. He set the 44th qualifying time. Started 42nd, finished 9th. Mover of the race for the 17 car. Corey Cook at top 10 in that AT&T 31 car. Ryan Hill 11th. Another solid result for him. Sean Peleg once again at the finish. Once again on the lead lap. That is progress for him after the first 5 races of this season. Something to build on going into Charlotte in 2 weeks' time. Tyler Head 13th. A very quiet race for the former champion. Jonathan Hernandez 14th. Nick Doucette, the Rainbow Warrior paint, out in 15th. Brennan McGee, Evan Locke, Brandon McKissick, Matt Taylor, and Kyle Benson round out your top 20 here in North Wilkesboro. 30 cars were on the lead lap at the finish. Here is the rest of those lead lap cars. Thomas Lewandowski in 21st, Kirk Marble 22nd, Philip Snipes 23rd, Ashley Collins qualified 4th. A bad pit stop moved her all the way down to 32nd. She could only get back up to 24th at the end. Lucas de Villa, the Argentinian, in 25th. Austin Reedy, Alex Bates, Matt Sisler, Tyler Murray, and Chris Champeau, the last cars on the lead lap. Mike Rasmus, the first car a lap down. Christina Ryan, the other car a lap down. Brandon Cotlinger went 2 laps down, as did Corey Steinhauser. Alex Chilcutt, 3 laps down. Same with Steve Brown. Same with Chris Bishop and Tom Willett. Andrew Ferrinaires begins the DNF list. Ferrinaires, Cruz, all out of this race, as was Lawton Slager, Andrew Griesbaum, Ryan Doucette, and then obviously Roy Collins, Ken Huff, Matt Skipper, and Hayden Rebus not qualifying for today's event. That rounds out the 47 cars here. We're going to see if we can grab a moment of the incident that Andrew Ferrinaires ended up getting voluntarily disqualified for the 14 car. We had him in just a moment, just ahead of this for where the 22's at. Let's see if we can. There he is. There is the 14 of Andrew Ferrinaires. He is with Alex Bates. Oh, this is trouble. This is Steve Brown too. And you see the car just let go. Trying to get down to pit lane. Just can't get anywhere. Other than trying to get all the way back around the racetrack. Knowing his race was done, decided that he was just going to completely retire. And he retired by having himself disqualified. So, not an actual disqualification. Very important to note there. Obviously, the overlay is not going to understand that. They had him listed as 43rd because he was disqualified in the system. He will end up scoring place 39th in this race after leading the most laps, having pole position, had basically the lion's share of the bonus points there here tonight. Have to go to Charlotte again next week, trying to capitalize and make up for this one. That'll do it from us here at North Wilkesboro. An absolutely outstanding race. 5 cautions in this event and a thrilling finish that saw everyone scrambling at the end. As I mentioned before, we're off next week. We're off for Easter Sunday across the board, across YouTube and Twitch. We're back again in 2 weeks' time for this, the Winstel Cup Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Coca-Cola 600 in 2 weeks' time, 7:45 right here on Twitch. In the meantime, coming up this week, Wednesday, it's the ABN Champ Car World Series at Sonoma Raceway on the Cup course in Sonoma. And then next Saturday, it is VRR Marathon GT World Tour Racing from Canada, from the Circuit Villeneuve in Canada and Montreal. We'll see you there as well. On behalf of everyone here for Winstel, for ABN Studios, my production manager who had to go through all of the technical issues tonight, unfortunately. We got them resolved when it mattered the most. Anity Pulsatrix working through all of it here and also giving us all the live feed we had tonight. I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. We'll see you on Wednesday from Sonoma. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you again very soon. So long, everybody.